The goal with this video is for me to just be as honest as I possibly can, regardless of how cool or lame that makes me look. So a couple of weeks ago, I told you to just ask me a bunch of questions. I got so many questions, it felt overwhelming. It was a big moment to get so many questions where people were asking me all kinds of stuff. And I'm sorry if your question didn't make it into the video, but I read every single question. The first question, which is probably the most important one, what do you do for a living? Believe it or not, I make videos full time. That's everything I do. And you might be thinking, shouldn't this guy be making more videos if it's his full-time job? And you're probably right. I don't make enough content, I think. But yet, YouTube is my full-time job. There's a lot of stuff surrounding that. There's Instagram videos and there's YouTube shorts and there's editing and there's planning stuff. And yeah, I'm not very efficient. I probably play too much video games and yeah, but it is my full-time job. It's the only thing I do. I don't have a boss. I have my own company. Yeah, this is it. What was the reason behind your branding? Polyfjord and the logo. Okay, yeah, so I'll show you. So here you can see a map of Norway. And if you zoom in here, you can see you have these 3 fjords. I'm not sure how easy you can see this, but up here you have Nordfjord, and then here you have Sunnfjord, and then here you have Sognefjorden. So that means you have like Nordfjord, Sunnfjord, Sognefjorden, or many fjords, and poly means many. So I wanted to have a name that just resembles fjords and this area, and you also have the polygons. It's a big deal of what I'm working with. So yeah, Polyfjord, polygons, many fjords. The logo is essentially just a cube because a cube is made out of polygons. And then you have the wave. And some people thought that this is like my hair that goes like this. I don't think that was the plan, but I mean, if you want to interpret it like that, that's okay. And some people are saying that this looks like the country of Poland, which I haven't really checked. Yeah, I mean, this is Poland. This is Polyfjord. Yeah, it's... If you have some goodwill, I guess. That's funny. What is your professional background and education? Okay, so for upper secondary education, or videregående skole, that's when I went media studies, which just changed my life. We were 12 people in our class. I had the best time of my life there. That was fantastic. We learned how to use cameras and yeah, it made me who I am. It made me into the creator that I am. And then I went to something called Folk High School or Folk College. It's like a community college, but we also learned film and stuff there. And after that, I was an intern for 9 months in a VFX company called Storyline Studios. That was so cool. I just learned so much there and they were so kind to me. And then I took a bachelor's degree in film and TV, where I became a film and TV creator, where I made my bachelor film stack. And at this point in my life, I'm starting to realize I want to become a YouTuber. That's what I want to do. So I took a master's degree in entrepreneurship. So I was chasing this idea of that I want full creative freedom and I want to make a YouTube channel and make videos. So I wrote my thesis about how can I basically get full creative freedom as a YouTuber. And now I feel like I have that. So that was a really cool thing to do. So after I wrote that master thesis, I started making YouTube videos full time. You can see around here. These 2 videos were like the first 2 videos where I was a full-time YouTuber. Right after I delivered my thesis, that was this video I made. So this video has a very special place in my heart. And this one is also, yeah, I'm very happy about these 2 videos. Why do you prefer making mechanical creatures over organic ones? This is probably just a skill issue because organic creatures are just so difficult. You have like skin stretching and you have subsurface scattering and you have all the kinds of deformation and muscle bouncing. There's all kinds of stuff you have to deal with. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to make hard surface objects that can be rigged predictably and just... But in general, I'm more fascinated by mechanical and robotic stuff than organic shapes or creatures. So the bottom line is the mechanical creature style for me started as a skill issue, but it has evolved into my taste. Like it is definitely what I prefer making right now. Have you planned to release an online course? Would love a Blender design focused course from you. I think I'm getting ready to make a course. I was a little bit hesitant a few years ago because I just really wanted to make only YouTube videos. But there's something about the format of a course. Like you have so much time to really get in depth about something. So I feel like it's like the ultimate test for how pleasant can you make the viewing experience for someone who wants to learn something. Yeah, so I was planning on this summer to start making a course and I want it to be really good and I want it to be very polished and I want it to be a good experience to watch. So it will most likely be something robotic, mechanical, with some cinematography in there. Maybe something tiny, some tiny robots or something like that. That's what I want to make. So I guess if there's ever a course coming from me, you will hear about this on this YouTube channel. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't, but you probably subscribe if you're watching this Q&A video. What jobs have you done outside of YouTube? You know, ever since I decided to go full-time YouTube, I've only done YouTube. I haven't done any freelance or any commission animation next to my YouTube videos. Except for a few months ago, I got contacted by HVL Robotics, and they just had this really cool logo. I got to have a look at their real robots. We get to talk together, like what do they want? What do I want to make? Yeah, it really ignited my passion for doing some freelance again. It was a fun project, and it's also like a local company, so I know some of the people that work there. So I haven't really done freelance in many years, but that was a really good experience to just try and get started just a little bit. Oh, there's a follow-up question here. What do you get from running a YouTube channel? That's a good question. Like, what I get from running a YouTube channel is that I get to have like a lot of interesting conversations, because a lot of people have heard about YouTube, but I think that it's kind of weird to have it as a full-time job. So every time we're at like a social event or someplace, and then people find out that I'm a YouTuber, that's what I do for a living, that's always like a really interesting conversation, because then I get to learn what do people know about YouTube. And yeah, it's kind of a weird job, but I would say I get a lot of interesting conversations. Oh, there's a fly here. Killed it in one shot. What was your main source of income before social media and YouTube? So when I was doing my bachelor's degree in film and TV, I was actually working freelance next to my studies. I posted videos on Instagram, and then brands would pick them up, and I would just make animations for companies. And that was actually really cool, because I ended up making concert visuals for Imagine Dragons, which was so cool. I'm a big fan of that band. And I also made an animation for Nike. They were launching a new shoe. And then I also got to make some animations for Lagunitas, a beer company in the United States. So I've had a lot of fun making freelance animations, but I've never had a real job. I just done freelance next to my studies. How far are you planning to go with the channel? What are your goals with it, and when are you going to stop? That's a big question. If I'm being honest, I don't really have that much plans. I'm probably just going to keep going like I'm doing now, that sometimes I make a video about something that I think is cool, and other times I get carried away and just make something that ends up being maybe not that cool, but I had a good time learning it. So my goals with the channel is to just be able to make whatever I want. And a very good example of this is this video. Yeah, this art project, it was sponsored by Nvidia. I had an amazing time just making animations every day for a month. It was a little bit challenging, but I had such a great time. I just loved every second I spent on this video. I would love to do more like this, where I can just be very creative and make like cinematic content, because this felt really good to create. Yeah, so the question, how far are you planning to go with the channel? I'm feeling very creative nowadays, and I'm exercising a lot, and I'm definitely not answering your question. Yeah, as you can probably tell, I don't know how far I'm gonna go with the channel. Is it better to freelance or work with studios? It's a good question. I think on a small scale, it's very similar. Like, you get to be an artist, you get to be on a computer, probably a very powerful one if it's your job, and you get to just work with something that you get to create something out of nothing, you know? That is like the core, and that feels really good if you ask me. So the big difference is, if you zoom out a little bit, working freelance is like swimming in the ocean, like the deep open ocean. You can go wherever you want, you can go how deep you want. But studios is like working in a pool. It's like a little bit more isolated. It's like a little bit more constrained, but it's way more safe. It's much more secure. Like, you got the nice temperature, you got like, it smells good. I have tasted the sweet fruits of freelance, and I think that's just better for me. I don't know, I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you start doing what you love and you end up as freelance or in a studio, I think it depends more on the studios. There are good and bad studios. There are good and bad freelance situations. How to get client with the help of Blender, and how to grow myself as a brand. Okay, so these are big questions, and it's very easy to give like a vague answer to this, but I'm gonna give you a very specific advice that I think works very nicely. I want you to go out in your town, like in your town or city or where you live. I want you to see, is there any company with their logo on a building? Like, are they showing their logo? Do they love their logo? If they love their logo, you can just make a logo animation for them. You can send it to them, and if it's really good, they will pick it up, and you will get in touch with them. A lot of companies, they just really love their logos, and you can tell by just looking at how they're showing their logo. Is their logo everywhere on like merch and stuff like that? Then they're really easy to approach. If you make their logo into something more than what it currently is, something that the brand doesn't expect and hasn't seen before, and show it to them, present it to them in a really cool way, and suddenly you are working for that brand and making their logo animations. And then once you're getting your foot in the door with logo animations, you should try and expand and try to do a little bit more. Maybe transition from logo animations into maybe pack shots or something that is easy and cheap to do in 3D but difficult to do in real life. So yeah, that is my advice. Companies love their logos. You should try and impress them with their own logo using your skill set. How do you just come up with an idea on the spot? Any tips for coming up with ideas on what to make? I do have one specific advice for how to just get ideas. And this doesn't work every single time, but I have a great success rate with it. So here's what you do. Let's say it's just a regular Monday or a Friday. It's just a regular day and you're feeling just so uninspired. There's nothing anywhere. Everything just feels gray and you're just not feeling it. You're not feeling anything, right? I want you to try this. Try and go a week without listening to music. You can listen to podcasts and stuff like that, but just exclude music from your life. And then you walk around, you live your life. And then at the end of the week, I want you to go for like a long walk. And it's important that it's at the end of the week because you want to have like the weekend off. Like you want it to be free and open and nothing heavy is like holding you back and down, right? So you take a long walk on that Friday evening and then I want you to put on your favorite songs. I want you to find music from the most important moments of your life. And I want you to play that music. So when you're out walking, like the sky is open, you have nothing planned for the next couple of days, you're listening to your childhood music, you're listening to just this music that made you who you are today, and you haven't heard music for a week, it's gonna hit you so hard. It's such a rush, it's such a high, it's an amazing feeling. And you wanna do this like a little bit late at night, maybe like 8 or 9 or 10 in the evening. It's something special, it's so insane. Sometimes you can get so inspired that it just painfully hurts to not being able to execute those ideas immediately. It's kind of crazy actually. If you get ideas like that, they will kind of stick around in the weekend and then you have like a weekend project and it's, yeah. Stuff like that is what fuels me to my core and it feels really good. Okay, next question is from Dem Nico Art. Hey, it's Nico. I met this guy at the Blender conference. He's amazing. Do you have a passion project that you would like to do but never got to do? Okay, yes, I do. So I'm not sure if you have seen my bachelor's film. Hang on, yeah, this one. Okay, so my bachelor's film, Stack. I've kind of always wanted to make like an animation short film kind of thing with like robots. And more like quadrupeds, robots that are walking around. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it ever because it's just so much work to make a short film. But yeah, that is definitely something that I want to do. So every time I'm making like a cinematic for a robot tutorial or something like that, I'm always feeling this urge to just turn this robot into the main character of a short film or something. Like a Pixar kind of vibe. And it's just like a 5 to 8 minute video that I can post on YouTube. So yeah, that's my dream. I would like to do that someday. What is your favorite Blender animation you did so far and what do you want to animate next? I do have a favorite animation. Let me show you. Okay, this animation right there. When it goes from being a 2D chessboard into being like a 3D chess set. I just love this so much. I'm so happy about it. I had this idea that I just wanted to make a chessboard that works in 2D and 3D. And it just worked. It was one of those ideas that actually ended up working and I was really happy about it. So yeah, that is definitely my favorite animation I did so far. Polyfjord, where do you find yourself in your life right now? How do you feel about the path you're on? So right now, a lot of stuff is happening. I'm doing changes to my studio. I'm trying to find a good setup. I got a new camera, I got a new drone. It's spring and summer and I really like being outside and yeah. And the second question, how do you feel about the path you're on? I feel like it's really difficult to understand what path I'm on, you know? That's something that you see later. I feel like I'm very bad at zooming out when I'm in my life. So maybe if you ask me again in 5 years, do you use Blender or other software for motion tracking? I use Blender for motion tracking, but there has been a development in Blender add-ons because there is an add-on which is called FlaxTracks, which is basically a one-click 3D tracking add-on. So I've been using this. It even works on vertical footage as well, which is surprisingly difficult to do with Blender's default tracker. I don't use that many paid add-ons, but sometimes when I just need to do a simple track of maybe some drone footage or something like that, I like to at least try FlaxTracks and see if it can just figure it out. Tracking is something that I am able to do in Blender, but it takes time. So it feels good to just start this auto tracker and then just leave and come back and it has tracked your footage. Yeah, so I do use Blender for motion tracking, but sometimes I use that add-on to just do it in one click instead of manually tracking. I've actually talked with the developer of the add-on and I got an affiliate link, so you can click it in the links in the description if you want to check it out. What are you most excited for in upcoming future, like colonization of Moon, Mars, humanoid robot, AGI, etc.? I think I'm mostly interested in new ways of communicating with people that are far away. Like I want to be able to have a conversation with someone that can't travel or someone in a different country. I just want to have an immersive conversation with someone like Derek Elliott, you know, he's in a different country on the other side of the world. I just want to hang out with him, for example. Or I want to communicate with people that are far away from me. Like traveling with planes is probably not sustainable if everyone is going to do it. So yeah, I'm mostly looking forward to better ways of communicating with others. Sometimes like chatting or video calls is just not good enough. I want something really good. Do you watch any movies, TV shows? If so, what are some of your favorites? Recently, I've been watching a lot of more TV shows than I watch movies. Okay, so my favorite movie, I think, is Whiplash by Damien Chazelle. It's an amazing movie. It just makes me so inspired. I feel that movie in my soul, When it comes to TV shows, I really liked Breaking Bad. And I think my favorite series of all time is Chernobyl. That is just so eerie and I love it so much. I just started watching True Detective, which feels kind of cool, but I'm not super into it yet. We'll see. How do you think your surroundings like landscape and general environment have affected your ideas and projects in Blender or other programs? Okay, so I think one very specific thing that has happened is that I sometimes go on a mountain and I bring my drone and I very often try to 3D track it or try and just make something with it. And that is actually affected my workflow, I think. I've been learning more about 3D tracking. I've learned more about compositing. I tried some photogrammetry. I tried a lot of different techniques because I got a drone and I've been walking around on these Norwegian mountains. It gives me a purpose to go out and film stuff. So like the 100-hour spaceship, for example, that's definitely an idea that came from me being outside. Yeah. Oh, there's a bonus question. Which Blender version added your favorite feature and or what feature is that? Okay, so I'm not sure if this counts as a feature, but cycles. One day, Blender got an update where you just had a new render engine, which was cycles. And it just changed my life. The author of cycles, Brecht van Lommel, I met him at the Blender conference. He was such a cool guy. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with him. The render engine cycles, it has changed my life completely. It has made me the artist I am today. I'm not even kidding. It's kind of crazy how powerful cycles is. Where do you get nice textures and materials? So I mostly get textures from Polyhaven. Here you can see you have textures, all kinds of great textures from Polyhaven. And ambient CG is also really nice. Do you think about sound design while working in Blender or after completing the final render? I think about it a little bit when I'm working in Blender. Sometimes I make sounds with my mouth, like when I'm moving stuff around and stuff like that, which is a little bit helpful because you get to time stuff and stuff like that. But most of the sound design I just discover when I'm listening to the audio in Soundly. Sup dude, I got 3 questions. First, do you play video games? Yes, I do. If so, what kind of video games? So yeah, I'm playing Dota 2, Overwatch, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, StarCraft 2, World of Warcraft, both classic and retail, N++. And I've recently been playing a game called Snö because I got a beta key. But that's probably something you're gonna have to wishlist. I know the developers, they're really cool. And I grew up playing Call of Duty, but I haven't played that in many, many years. Okay, and do you watch anime movies or series? I think the only anime I've watched is Pokemon. Does that count? Yeah, I watched a lot of Pokemon growing up. And I've also watched the first season of Death Note, but that's all the anime I've watched. What's your favorite Norwegian word? Greetings from Montreal. My favorite Norwegian word is glidelås. So you have a zipper in English, but in Norwegian, the literal translation is sliding lock. So it's like glidelås. And I just love saying it. Glidelås, glidelås. And also for Velcro or a hook and loop, we have a borrelås, which is also nice. If you could do anything else not related to art, what would it be? I've always wanted to work with advertisements, like making like really cinematic advertisements. I would love to do that, but I think that's too close to art. Yeah, not related to art. I think I would be an optician. Yeah, I care about eyesight a lot, and I think I care about optics and light and how people are seeing the world. And just glasses are kind of fascinating to me. Yeah, I care a lot about vision and that people can see and enjoy stuff around them. And I think I would probably try and help people do that more. What car do you drive? I drive a Nissan Leaf. Also, have you upgraded your drone from the DJI Mini? I've actually downgraded my drone to the DJI Mini. So my first drone was the DJI Air 2, and that's the drone I've been using in all my videos so far, and I love it so much. But in Europe, we got some new drone regulations on January 1st, 2024, so that drone is now a legacy drone. So I went out and I actually bought the DJI Mini 4 Pro because that's a 249 gram drone, and I just love flying it. It's so good. It can shoot in HDR, which I really like. So yeah, I had to get rid of my old drone because of just regulations. And I pretty much got like the same drone, but just smaller now. Do you watch any non-Blender YouTubers in your spare time? Any favorites? Yes, I watch Nerdforge and Slow Mo Guys. And I watched Magnus Midtbø, a climber. And recently I've been watching Virtual, the Norwegian Trackmania streamer. Sometimes I'm watching Hot Ones by First We Feast, depending on what guests I have. And then I like watching ProZD, if he has like a review of some food or something like that. And then I watch Marques Brownlee. And then sometimes I watch a Veritasium video if it's an interesting topic. And then, oh yeah, Stuff Made Here. I love that guy. And Primitive Technology. Yeah, and also Numberphile. Yeah, so those are the ones I've been watching the most recently, at least. What's your favorite video game? Maybe Dota 2, but I can't really play that because then I get addicted and then I just don't do anything. So I very often uninstall Dota 2, and then I install it again, and yeah. So that's it. Thank you so much for everyone who submitted a question. It was so overwhelming to read through all of them and just really think about them. And I really appreciate that. So thank you for making me feel appreciated. I'm so grateful for that. And thanks for watching.